So we're live. Hi, everybody.
Hello,
Welcome back to Questionable Advice with Simone Holder and
Ashley Perna.
Ashley Perna. So we weren't here last week, so you haven't seen us in 2 weeks, so I'm sure you missed us.
Absolutely.
So yeah, we're doing things a little bit earlier this week just because it's so hot outside. and we have other things to do today. So we'll probably be resuming our 4 o'clock streaming time from next week, but
Yeah,
today we're doing 1 o'clock.
a little earlier. Just beat the heat. That way I can
Yeah.
sleep the afternoon.
Yeah. Yeah. It's been unbearably hot in Kingston. I know heat
Yeah,
warnings, and it's been hot in Ottawa as well. So
and it's been unpleasant.
yeah, you look angry.
Just so like it's just gross. I had heat
Yeah.
exhaustion earlier this week, and I don't think I'm fully recovered either because I'm still
Yeah.
tired all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. You should put like a washcloth in like ice cubes or cold water and just like place it like on the back of your neck and stuff just to
Yeah,
keep yourself cool.
I have a bag of ice in front of my fan.
Okay. Then you stick your face in the bag of ice.
Pretty much. I have not forgotten to refill the ice cube tray in a while, let me tell you. It's become
Yeah, no kidding. No
important.
kidding. No kidding. Yeah, no,
All right.
the heat is brutal.
It's just now. Well, do we want to get started?
Yeah, yes.
All right, let's see if I can remember how to do this. Nope, don't remember how to do it.
Yeah, I
There
think
we
you have to put it in
go.
like presentation mode or something.
There we go.
Ta-da.
All right. Do you want to read the first one?
Sure. Zodiac disaster. Since I've started working from home, my organization has hired Joan to join my team. In our very first Zoom call, she figured out that I'm a Taurus. She's an Aries, so obviously that's going to be a problem. Apparently, these two signs don't get along. While the project itself is going well, anytime Joan and I disagree or when something goes wrong, she blames it on me being a Taurus. I'm getting incredibly frustrated, and while I don't want to demean her beliefs, it's impossible to fix any interpersonal conflict when she has decided it's just who I am. What should I do? Sherry.
Well, do you want to tackle that one first?
Sure. People are crazy. I can say. Um, you know what? It's fine if she believe if Joan is really into astrology and stuff like that, but she can't avoid resolving interpersonal conflicts or just resolving conflicts within the work environment with, oh, it's because you're a Taurus and I'm an Aries and we don't get along. Like that's lazy. It's unprofessional sort of thing. Just because Sherry referred to it as I don't want to demean her beliefs. So, in this place, you can treat it, I guess you could treat it like religion, where of course you don't want to demean or belittle someone's beliefs, but at the same time, those should be pushed on you in the workforce, sort of thing. And I don't know if the letter writer indicated if they've tried, if she's said anything to Joan about, no, really, it's not because I'm a Taurus, it's because of XYZ, or we need to um, resolve this. Fine, we don't get along, but we still need to fix this problem. Um, I don't think the letter writer hasn't indicated that, but um, if Joan is reluctant to discuss it, then I think Sherry has no choice but to get their manager involved. Um, yeah, that's all I can think of. I think it's pretty silly
Yeah.
to base everything on, because I know like I don't really follow astrology that much, but I noticed a pattern that I do not get along with Libra men, you know.
Interesting.
It's just like my ex-husband was a Libra, all these like pivotal people in my life were Libras, and it was like disaster. But it was just like, oh, okay. But if like, I don't know, some incredible guy, I met some incredible guy and he's like, I'm a Libra, it wouldn't be like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just,
I think the zodiac is like, you can read into what you're going to read into it, right? It's basically a Rorschach test. You're going to like,
you're gonna see what you want to see.
yeah, or you're going to not see what you want to see or whatever. Like it reveals more, I think, about the person than anything else. But I
Yeah.
think, yeah, I think the letter writer needs to sit down with Joan and be like, look, in the history of time, I'm sure Aries and Tauruses have managed to get along. So we're gonna have to figure this out. And then if Joan is still reluctant, I think that, yeah, getting the manager involved. And I
Yeah.
wouldn't worry too much about like demeaning religious beliefs. The zodiac isn't technically a religion under Ontario law, so she's not going to get in any trouble with HR if she loses her mind and just says, look, just
Yeah.
because I'm born on this day and not this day doesn't mean that you're right.
Yeah. Just because the moon was in my second house when I was born doesn't
Yeah.
mean.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But I just think I just think it's a silly way to judge how you're going to be around people,
Yeah, absolutely.
you know, because there's no real science behind it. I don't think.
No, not at all.
Because I know like I'll read it on my birthday and be like, oh yeah, I can make it fit
Yeah.
what I want it to, you know, I can make it fit whatever I want it to fit. And I'll see what I want to see in it, sort of thing. So
My skepticism 100% lies in the fact that when I used to freelance, right, I wrote for one of those sites that did astrological readings. I got paid a penny per word, and I have no no understanding background in that whatsoever. I'm not someone who can read the stars. They were like, we want you to say this for this. So I would make Libras were
say
supposed
it.
to be having a tricky day. I was going to make Libras have a tricky day. So that's where my skepticism sort of lies. And they did make me
You
study
got
like
it.
personality traits and stuff, but that was most of it was fly by the seat of your pants.
Wow.
So if
Yeah,
you read
it's
zodiac
kind of
sites,
bullshit too.
you
So.
might have read my predictions.
It's true.
Right. We gonna go for another one?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. I'll read this one.
Okay.
I live in BC. Sorry, long distance wooing. I should give my title credit there. I live in BC, but work closely with a branch in Ontario. Before COVID, we would travel down twice a year for week-long conferences. And since the lockdown, we've been having weekly Zoom calls, which has been great because I have a crush on John, one of the contractors in Ontario. I felt sparks when we met, and we tend to banter really well back and forth and have similar coming out stories. Is there a way I can woo him from afar without making things awkward at work? Ryan.
Do you want to tackle this one?
Well, I think so. There are a couple like HR things that maybe I'd be slightly concerned about.
Okay.
Just in the fact that if you both work for the same company and he's a contractor and you're in a position of power or whatever, and he gets contracts like you. So I mean, first of all, make sure that like you can't fuck anything up at work.
Yeah.
But
And that like one doesn't report to the other or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. If you're both like freelancers, you happen to work for the same organization, then really like I see no problem there. I would say there's definitely a way. Like if everyone is basically long distancing everything right now. Like we're long distancing friendships, people are long distancing relationships who might be living like blocks apart. Like everyone is long distancing everything. So I think that it would be now's the time. If you're going to try to woo someone in a different area, now's the time to do it, because it's not like y'all can visit anyway. Like, you know, if your social bubble is small, like,
yeah,
maybe.
I
But
agree that everything, like, we're doing everything online and long distance, even if, you know, the person's down the street from you. But I think, like, I hear, I understand what you're saying, but it's like, how do you do it without
oh yeah,
making it
well,
weird?
start by
Like,
just chatting a little more than usual, or just I would say increase the communication and see what the response is. I don't know. I'm very bad at the whole
oh,
flirting.
me too.
Like
I am not a good flirter.
yeah.
The only thing that would make me a worse flirter is if I were to say, I am flirting with you right now, in case you didn't know. The flirting begins now.
I'm pretty sure I actually have legit stuff.
I've probably said that too.
Yeah, I would just say
Yeah.
start by increasing the type of communication you're having and see if they're open to it. And if you don't get a lot of response, if you just get like one word answers, then maybe they're not into you. But maybe by you reaching out, being like, oh, what do you think about the end of that meeting? Start there and see what they say. You might even be able to build like a whole, if they banter well in person, you might be able to build a whole bantership back and forth based on that one, like, hey, how did you think the end of the meeting? Or I don't know, boss's background was funny, or did you see that Jill's cat kept trying to get in and look at butt? Like, something.
Yeah.
I would,
like
yeah,
how, because yeah, I the most logical thing would be to, I guess, start the conversation off of like their work meetings. At what point should, is it Ryan? Ryan, or should Ryan get personal at any point, or just keep it light and airy?
well, I think you might, I don't know, depending on the relationship they've already have, you might find that they might find that by bantering and whatever, it becomes personal by default. Sort of like,
Okay.
this is what happened at the end of the meeting, and then, oh, have you seen this movie? And then it might be that movie reminds me of this thing from when I was a kid, and then all of a sudden, there you go.
Okay. Hmm.
But that's just
I don't really have much to add to this because I'm so bad at this stuff. I'm really, really bad. I'm so awkward and stupid when it comes to stuff.
When I saw the question come up. So
what was that?
I did research this when I saw the question come up.
Oh, you researched it? Okay. No, because the thing, like the HR stuff and legal stuff that you mentioned is very important, because you don't want the person in Ontario to be like, I feel like I'm being harassed or something. You've got to, like, that stuff is very important. Yeah, I really don't have much to add because I'm so bad.
Well,
I'm so awkward and weird.
Because yeah, it's not like, my advice is just to start a conversation. Yeah. Worst thing that can happen is they're not going to answer you, and then that's really like,
yeah, that's all you need to know at that point. You've got your answer.
Oh yeah.
So ignoring is bad, responding is good.
Pretty much. Just try the conversation. Yeah. All right. You want to read this one?
Sure. Okay. UFC and greedy. There was a big UFC pay-per-view event on recently. I happened to have a large yard and a projector, so I posted on Facebook that I was thinking of paying for the event and having a socially distant watch party in my yard. A few friends said they'd love to come, but since I live in the country, they'd be unable. So I paid for their Ubers and the event, and we all had a great time. Except no one offered to reimburse me at all, not for the rides or for the event. Not even a, hey, let me get you a beer sometime. Am I the asshole for feeling bothered by this? I'm not super close with those friends, but still, I think it would have been polite for them to offer. Am I in the wrong, Jim?
I have thoughts.
What are your thoughts?
I think the gym is not in the wrong at all. Gym, I like if it were me, for example, and someone had invited me to an event and they paid for my way there, and then they paid for my entertainment while I'm at the event, I would I would feel a little obligated to say, like, at least can I take you out for a beer? You know, or alternatively, when they're inviting me to the event, like if it's not an invitation directly, like if it's not like, hey, Ashley, do you want to come? But if it was like, hey, Facebook, I'm doing this thing, um, I would expect, like, I would be like, yeah, I'm interested. How much do you want? You know what I mean? Because yeah, it's not like Jim reached out to them as individual people and was like, I'm doing this thing. Would you like to come? It was like a Facebook. I'm hosting this thing, and like especially like making sure they got to and from safely. I feel like at bare minimum, like pay for the Ubers, bare
Yeah.
minimum.
Yeah.
You know, like I can't come and be like, okay, well, why don't I get you? You know, like
That's the part that I'm a little confused about. Like, if they can't come for because it's far or they don't have transportation, I don't know. I'm conflicted with this because I think paying for the Ubers was like above and beyond, way above and beyond. I also feel with stuff like that, like I never assume something is free.
yeah,
I just don't assume that something is free. That if someone invites me to, I'm not talking about like a date or something, but like if somebody invites me to, hey, I've got tickets to go to XYZ, I'm not assuming, unless they said I've got tickets to XYZ, and it's your birthday, it's on me, or
yeah.
I have a free ticket to XYZ. I'm going to assume that there's a cost. And if it's something I'm interested in, I'd be like, hey, I'd like to come. How much is the ticket? That would be one of my first questions. And if say I didn't ask that question at some point during the evening, it would be like, thanks so much for this. What do I have for you for the ticket? Or what do I have for you for the Uber? I'll e-transfer it to you when I get home, or some acknowledgement that um, the person paid for something, because I'm making the assumption that the writer would have watched the pay-per-view event anyway. Like they got they bought it. They're going to watch it anyway. Um, I'm wondering if maybe they should have been more clear in the invitation,
Yeah,
you
that could
know?
be like maybe next time Jim should say, like, I'm having this thing, 25 bucks a person.
Yeah. If we're six people, it'll be, $15 a person. If it's more, it'd be, it's less,
Yeah.
sort of thing. Maybe that's, maybe they have to be more clear.
And I'm wondering too with Jim's letter, maybe if his friends had been just a little more, it's I don't know, but the way he was like, we had a great time, except they didn't offer to pay. I don't know. Did they say thank you? Like, does he feel adequately thanked as well? I'm wondering if maybe his friends had taken a little more time to make him feel appreciated for all of that. Maybe he wouldn't feel so bitter about not getting paid.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because he
Like,
doesn't,
I don't know if they brought like chips or something to
yeah,
the
he doesn't
party or
say
something.
like, yeah,
Yeah. Cause like, I don't think you should do something just for acknowledgement.
no,
And
but
I
I do
think,
think if someone does something for you, you should acknowledge it.
yeah. And I think this is just about manners and polite. Like, I don't know. I think I, yeah. Because the thing is, things aren't free. And I just know for myself, unless someone says, I have a free ticket, would you like it? Or I have these tickets, I don't want anything for them. Would you like one? I think the assumption you should assume that there's going to be some sort of cost to it,
Yeah.
you know, and at least offering, like you said, the bare minimum, the Ubers,
Yeah.
which I think the Ubers was like too far, you know. But
But
yeah,
then again,
I
I guess
think it's
if they were drinking too, making sure they got home safely was,
yeah, that's true. That's true. That's true. But I think it's all incredibly rude. And he said they're not super close friends. So I guess lesson learned. You feel a little used, maybe leave those invitations to like actual friends.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cause I know if I like, say, if I were in that situation and I asked like my friend, like not just acquaintances, but actual friends, I wouldn't want to take money from them. But the thing is, I know that they would offer. They'd
Yeah.
be like, okay, how much was this? I'd be like, don't worry about it. And they're like, they'd be like, come on, like, let me give you something for it. No, no, it's fine. Okay, well, next time we go out, I'll get you dinner, I'll get you a pint, whatever,
Yeah.
something, some sort of acknowledgement that this event wasn't free.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
you know, but maybe I guess if Jim puts another global generic Facebook invitation, might have to be more specific.
Yeah, I think that might be the
Yeah,
that might be the
this event. Yeah, if you'd like to come, I have X 10 spaces at $7 a space
yeah.
or something,
Yeah.
so that it's clear.
Completely.
Yeah.
All right, let's tackle the next one.
Okay.
All right. So, dreaded interview question. I landed an interview for my dream job. Friends of mine who work there have been helping me prepare. However, they all disagree on the best way to answer one of the questions the HR manager is sure to ask. What is your worst trait? How should I approach this answer or this question?
Like, you can't get out of answering the question, but you should not also shoot yourself in the foot when answering it. So your worst trait can't be something that's directly related to the job. Like, let's say, I don't know, let's say your job is web developer or something. You can't say, oh, my worst trait is I don't pay attention to detail. You can't, you know what I mean? If attention to detail is crucial to your job, that can't be your worst trait, But I think it should be approached in a way where the worst trait is not something that could hinder your employment or make the hiring manager think that you're a liability.
Mm-hmm.
But you also have to demonstrate how you're working to fix this trait. So you could say something like, oh, hi, Rory. so, so they could say something like, my worst trait is, sometimes I'm focused to the point of, tunnel vision or something. But, I'm working on that by, collaborating with my coworkers, asking questions and things like that. So it's not just like, oh, a negative red flag for the manager, but just something that's not a deal breaker for the job, but you're also demonstrating how you're working to fix it or improve it or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. My dad always told me, and my dad used to hire people a lot. He always said, pick something that's unrelated to the job and then explain how you're overcoming it. He's like, because the thing that you're answering is how do you overcome a challenge? He's like, you're not answering what your worst trait is. And so I always said public speaking, because unless I know what I'm going to say 100% in advance, I can't do it. And the way I am overcoming that is stand-up comedy. And then
the next question would be like, if you're afraid of public speaking, how do you do stand-up comedy? I push myself. Like, I step outside of my comfort zone. That.
Well, I'm always like,
all great things.
I went from like over preparing, for sets to like understanding that you have to problem solve while you're on stage. You have to figure out, will this joke work with this crowd based on, sorry, Rory just decided to hop off my lap. like you have to like, will this joke work with this crowd, given how that joke worked with the crowd, and you have to make sort of last minute edits. And sometimes your jokes aren't going to go over the way you want them to, and you have to have a comeback to that. And sometimes your jokes are going to go over great. Like I have this joke about lesbian splaining. Like I'm not going to lesbian splain to you my U-Haul joke. But sometimes I don't need to say that little bit because sometimes people get the U-Haul joke. So if I said, okay, well, not a lot of you got that, it wouldn't, like, it doesn't make sense. So I cut that joke, but that means that now I have like an extra 5 seconds. I could throw in something different. And so I like to use that when I'm doing interviews. I think Jess is watching. I hope so. Hi, Jess. She said hi to you in the comments.
There's some comments here we can go through. Pete
she
says hi. Hi, Pete. Hi, Jess.
She interviewed me.
I'm excited to meet you too.
So she knows the answer to that question.
Okay. My friend Kara, she's in New Brunswick. Hi, Kara. In the gym question with the UFC fight, she says Jim invited them over. Jim was buying his friends. Yeah. So I think she thinks that Jim was overreacting.
Maybe. Well, and I think we agreed next time Jim just needs to make things a little more clear.
Right.
And maybe Jim's acquaintances should be a little more grateful for Jim's generosity.
Yeah.
But yeah, the interview question. Yeah, this one, I've always hated this question, but now that I have a good answer, it's not too bad. So.
Yeah, no, and that's a great answer. That's
my dad was really good at helping me.
Because I always think of The Office. Did you ever watch The Office?
Yes.
So I can't remember what season this was, but with Michael Scott, he's like, my worst habits or whatever. He's like, I care too much and I work too hard. Like, people are gonna see through that. It was total bullshit. Total bullshit. So it's like, it's got to be realistic, but totally unrelated to the job, and you got to demonstrate how you're overcoming it.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Sorry, I'm fading.
That's okay. It's okay.
All right, next one.
Okay, so I think it's me.
Oh yeah, you get the long ones.
So jealousy. I recently rekindled a relationship with my ex, Robin, from a decade ago. We are long distance now, but when COVID is over, we plan on relocating to the same city. Things are amazing, except Robin hates my friend Marion, who is also an ex. I am friends with many of my exes. Most of them I only dated for a short time before realizing we were incompatible romantically, but a good match for friends. My relationship with Robin lasted a year when we were 25, but I was only with Marion for a few weeks when I was 27. Robin wants me to cut Marion out of my life altogether, but I'd really rather not do that. I love Robin and can see myself with her for the rest of my life, but I also don't want to lose other friendships in the process. If she doesn't like Marion, what's to stop her from going after Clara or Amy next? Is there a compromise we can reach? Donna. I have lots of thoughts.
Well, why don't you go ahead?
Okay. First, I think it's great that they're rekindling their relationship. I am concerned about being friends with all your exes. That's something I'm not friends with any. Maybe one, but I don't make it a habit to be friends with my exes. So it's something that, I don't know, I'm always a little like when I hear that, because I had a friend who was friends with all of his exes, but it was more like, how can I explain this? He had it more like a harem. He felt it was more like a harem, like, oh, all these women that used to love me or still kind of love me, sort of thing. And it made me uncomfortable. So I was never, so I'm not friends with him either. So. But yeah, so that aside, I think it's normal for, you know, your partner not to like some of your friends. But I I think that's crossing a line for a partner to say, I don't want you to be friends with this person. You can't be friends with that person. I don't like this person, therefore you can't have a relationship with them. I don't like that at all. I don't like that at all. Does Robin have to be buddy buddy with all of Donna's friends? No. You know, Robin has to be civil to Donna's friends, you know, unless these friends are abusing Donna or mistreating her in some way. You know, she doesn't have to hang out with them. She doesn't have to become super close with them. But I don't think Robin has a right to say, you can't be friends with this person. Because, yeah, who's next? You
Yeah.
can't be friends with any exes and this list of people. I think that's crazy.
Yeah, I am someone who stays friends. Like, I am the sort of person where it'll go like a few dates and then I'm like, this isn't going to work romantically, but like, they're a good person. So I want to stay friends. So I am friends with quite a few of my exes, mostly because of like that sort of thing where we've just stayed friendly. Um, so that question really got my back up because I was thinking, yeah, like, what if the person I was with was like, no, you can't be friends with your most recent ex? I'm like, okay, I guess that makes sense. It's recent. And then, okay, now you can't be friends with that ex before that one. And now that one. And now before that one. And then it's like, oh, and this person I think you might have a crush on. So maybe you can't be friends with them.
Or this person looked at you a certain way and I don't want you being friends with.
Yeah.
Where does it end?
That's exactly. It's a slippery slope. And once you're banning someone from talking to someone, I think that you become the problem person. Like, as problematic as maybe Robin feels about Donna being friends with Marion, and that's a whole other issue. Yeah, Robin's reaction makes her more problematic. Like, you cannot say, do not hang out with this person or I'm going to not talk. Especially, again, like in the absence of, you know, as long as one's not feeding the other drugs or, you know what I mean? Like,
like there is no harmful behavior.
Or cheating, I suppose, too. Like,
yeah.
But from the letter, it just seems like they're friends. And I mean, if they only dated for a few weeks, like what, 10 years? So that would have been 6 years ago.
Yeah, that's a long time ago. That's
a weird thing to still be jealous about.
Yes, and that's problematic.
Yeah,
that's problematic. Because the thing is, let me rephrase what I had said before. I'm not opposed to being friends with an ex. I just don't think you should be friends with that right away. I don't think it's possible. Especially like say you're involved for a long time or whatever, you had a messy breakup or whatever. Maybe years down the line you may, but I've seen it and and also I think my view of it as well is it's almost offered like a shitty consolation prize. You know? So I think that's my aversion to it. It's like I feel if you're going to be friends, you're just going to be friends. That'll evolve organically, that'll evolve normally.
Yeah, again, and I've had friends almost right away. Like there was one guy I dated for about 4 months. We broke up about 3 weeks later. We started having coffee.
Yeah, I think you're a better person than I am.
Well, and again, it depends on the situation, right? Like when the breakup happens because you both realize you just can't have a romantic relationship, like for whatever reason, like maybe one of you wants kids and the other one doesn't, or maybe one of you, I don't know, wants to travel the world and the other one doesn't. Or like when you realize that whatever, like what's happened to me a lot is in actually almost all of the cases, they've either been interested in polyamory and it's just something I can't do, or it's been like a fundamental difference of like I would like to see myself getting remarried and maybe they just don't believe in marriage, or you know they don't want a serious relationship and I'm, you know, not the kind of, I don't want the person I'm seeing to be sleeping around, like So in those cases too, that's when it's only gone a few dates and then whatever. The guy for 4 months or so, that was a matter of like he didn't want a serious relationship. It was like I think you're lovely, but I just don't want this. And you know, there's no convincing him Like I'm not in the practice of arguing someone to be with me, right?
Yeah, exactly,
So it's like,
exactly. It's
okay.
like,
And then,
okay.
like, I do kind of miss that person's opinion, or, you like that person. I would like to chat with them again. And then, but knowing that they don't want to be with me would always sort of the like, okay, well, I don't want to be with them either. If they don't want to be with
Yeah,
me, might as
yeah.
well have this person in my life still. But I would,
I think for me it's so like the person I was seeing someone for a couple of months. It started like November and it petered out in January, which is fine. Um, but what I didn't like is like he was upfront with me and everything. He's like, I'm not really feeling this anymore, and I don't think we should see each other anymore. And I was like, okay, cool, fine, that's fine. And then he threw in the, are we cool? Can we still be friends? And I was just like, it just rubbed me the wrong way. And
oh
I
yeah,
just said, yeah, yeah, sure, just to move it along. But I don't like the, I'm not in love with you anymore. I'm not gonna sleep with you anymore. But second best thing is my friendship. Like, fuck you. No,
yeah,
I don't like that. I don't like
like
that.
these with me. It's guys that I'm like, well, and girls. Girls are like queer relationships are weird. Like Deanne Smith went hiking with her ex's ex because they're all still friends. Like, so that might have a lot to do with my perspective too.
I think so because I've had gay friends who've said that the community is so small that if you're not friends with your ex, like you're like alone.
Yeah,
Because somebody's a friend of someone's ex is your friend's ex, and blah blah blah. That
that, yeah.
it's so tight. Yeah.
And if we like, I break up with them, and a few weeks later, it's like I do miss their jokes or
Mm-hmm.
their thoughts on whatever or their company, and it's like, and they don't want to be with me, and I can reconcile that. I'd
Mm-hmm.
rather have them in my life in some way than not in my life at all. So,
Okay.
but it's different than them saying to me, let's be friends. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
more of a friendship
Yeah.
that develops because I missed an aspect of them as opposed to them being like,
Yeah. Because I think something like that is like if I just think like if you genuinely cared for the person, that your friendship will flourish.
well, and that's what's happened is these people and
Yeah.
I
It'll just
are, yeah,
yeah. It's not going to be like, okay, we're not lovers anymore. Now we're friends. Like, no, I don't,
yeah.
I can't put my finger on it, but it's just like,
For
ugh.
me, like we tried the lovers and that was a mistake. So now we've corrected it and we're friends.
And the thing is for me, like the correcting it, because to say that I'm not friends with any of my exes isn't 100% true. There's some we've just never crossed paths again. And there are others where it's been years later, decades later, that it's like, hey, how are you? Sort of thing. And we have like a new relationship
Yeah,
where it's almost like when they're like, well, how do you know so and so? It's like, oh yeah, we used to date in the 80s. I
yeah,
forgot about that sort of thing. So it's like it's a different relationship. But I still think that there's got to be some kind of cooling off period for me at least. For me at least. I can't go from, unless it's like a hookup situation where it's like you're sleeping with a friend,
yeah,
where you're friends all along. It's like whether you hook up or not, where it's not a romantic relationship. It's just friends with benefits, or you're just hooking up where you can
yeah,
resume being friends. You're not sleeping together anymore. You're not sleeping together. You're friends either way, whether you're sleeping together or not, versus relationship that I have like distinct, it's distinct like that for me. If I'm hooking up with you, you're my friend and I can separate the sex from the hooking up. But if I'm interested in you or in a relationship with you and that doesn't work, there needs to be some kind of cooling off period.
well, yeah. I mean, like I said, it's always been a few weeks
Yeah.
where I've been like, oh, I missed this, whatever. But I mean, there
Mm-hmm.
have been times too where I go on a few dates and it doesn't work, and I'm like, I don't miss them at all.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Where
one
you're
guy
like,
two great
bye.
went on two great dates with, and then he got sick and we just didn't talk again because neither one of us were really obviously that into the other in
Yeah.
any sex, right? And then there's been other where it's been 2 dates and we keep talking, but we find out like the more we're talking that we just don't, you know,
Yeah.
we're not
Yeah.
attracted to each other or whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But in any respect, I wouldn't want anyone telling me I couldn't talk to anyone else.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That would if it wasn't a deal breaker, that would be like a huge red flag.
Absolutely. And that to
That'd
me, I
be
mean,
huge.
it's a sign of control too. And
Yes.
obviously
Yes.
obvious insecurity. And I get that. But if you're not going to trust me to be friends with people,
Yeah.
and with me
Exactly.
as a queer woman, that really would be like, you don't want me to be friends with men or women then
Yeah. You
because
don't want me to. You only want me to be friends with you.
pretty much because yeah,
Yeah, which is not
that's
great. Which is not
yeah.
healthy.
So I can see that slippery slope happening and it just being
Mm-hmm.
or worse.
Because where do you draw the line?
Yeah.
It's exes. Next it could be coworkers. You know. Next it could be, you can't talk to the barista at Starbucks
Yeah,
because
people you might have looked at. Yeah.
yeah,
Does it turn into
so,
like if I swiped on them on Tinder, I can't talk to them anymore?
yeah, if you looked at them, you're in the, same time zone.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
as
it's
a
a
queer
slippery
woman,
slope.
it's shitty because that sort of like, I might be jealous of them, so you can't be friends with them means like no friends. Or worse, it
Yeah,
means they diminish my sexuality and they're only jealous of men or they're only jealous of women,
yeah,
which is also a giant red flag. Like one
exactly.
guy was only jealous of the men that I was talking with. And this was back when I had first broken up with Stephanie. So like it was real raw. Like
Yeah,
that was a but we were still like liking each other's stuff on Facebook and a little bit of Facebook flirting and like it was I did not that break up to me. I didn't break up well with her. Anyway, there was still back and forth on social media. Like it was pretty clear that we were, and I had started dating this other guy and he had no problems with Stephanie whatsoever. My friend Dave, who lives in Cornwall, that I haven't spoken to in person in like 5 years. And I think we've commented on each other's Facebook stuff twice. And like
had a
we made
problem with that.
a bit super jealous. And I was like, that's
No.
no.
If you're going to be jealous of an ex, you're going to be jealous of all the exes.
Yeah, be jealous, or at least be jealous of the right one.
Yeah, because who is more of a threat? Like,
Yeah, exactly.
if they were going to feel threatened by someone, I think
Dave's great.
Stephanie was more of a threat than Dave.
Oh yeah. Actually, like
or threat.
that guy and I did break up because he did tell me I couldn't be friends with Stephanie anymore. And this was 4 or 5 years ago. And I mean, Steph and I still aren't super close friends by any means. And we like definitely our friendship tapered off after that. But I have no regrets in telling that guy to fuck off. Like even
Yeah,
though
yeah.
Steph and I aren't friends really, really anymore,
You're not friends with her because of him.
exactly. Yeah.
Which is a huge, huge difference. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Too
Moving
many
on.
controlling red flags there.
Yeah. Just, the second they say you can't be friends with so and so, get them
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
Unless, again, of course, if there was cheating, then I think that's a fair
That's
statement.
different. Yeah. Yeah.
Just caveat. But the letter writer, I think, with this lengthy letter, would have mentioned if cheating was a.
Yeah. Yeah. That there was some like questionable behavior involved.
Yeah. All right. I'm trying to. Okay. Oh, and this one's mine because I literally did give myself all the short ones.
Okay. Yeah. You give me all the long, like deep, sad ones.
Coming out. When is a good time to come out of the closet? I'm a lesbian in my 20s and only my sister knows. I'm scared to come out, but also scared to only live half my life. Anna.
I really don't. I really have nothing to offer with this. I'm not gay. I haven't had to come out of anything. I think the closest thing I can relate to this was, say, when I was dating someone, and their family didn't know that they were dating a black woman, sort of thing. And like the fear or the concern that he had with that, that's the closest I've come to it. And it wasn't me going, I'm Black, you know, it wasn't me. I wasn't the one coming out of the closet. It was like him, I guess, uh, you know, I guess afraid to confront something that could be potentially ugly, like to see an ugly side of his family, sort of thing, if he were to like bring me home, sort of thing. Um, in that situation, it was fine, or at least like it presented itself fine to me. Like his family was lovely.
Mhm.
But that's gotta like that's gotta be hard because I can't imagine not not living my life fully because I'm afraid to really be who I am. That makes me sad, and I, I I don't understand that struggle. I really don't know anything about that struggle. I'm not even going to attempt to to relate because I can't. I can't.
It's it's tough. I can relate. I knew I liked women before I knew I liked men. So um, it's hard. I didn't come out till I was 33, and I mean most people knew. Like I joke about how most people know because I've never sat in a chair funny, and I wear lots of eyeliner, and I walk real quick, and those are some cuff my jeans. Those are all bi stereotypes. Um,
Okay.
uh, so you know, like most people knew, like when I came up to my sister, she was like, "That's great, I'm really proud of you," but like I think I already knew that. And you know, my friends pretty much always are like, I'm not very good at hiding it. You know, I talk about Nicole Kidman just as much as Ewan McGregor, so they sort of caught on. But coming out to my family was tough. It was scary, and I'm a law clerk. I worked for a very conservative law firm right out of school, and I was terrified that if I came out, they'd make fun of me or whatever. The next law firm I worked
Or
at,
fire you because that's
yeah,
happened. You know.
the next law firm I worked at, they made fun of me for having a mental illness. I was like, I'm certainly not coming out of the closet here.
Holy shit! Oh my god.
Um, yeah, so it wasn't until I was freelancing and, you know, Cooper was getting older and asking questions about other people's sexuality. And I was like, well, you know, I owe it to Coop to be out of the closet. Like, he needs to know that it's okay. So I did it in the most extra way possible, and I wrote an article. um, but I called like my friends and family first to tell them before the article was published. All that's to say, like, I think coming out, there's never going to be an absolute perfect time to come out of the closet. There are always going to be obstacles. There's always going to be a reason to stay in the closet. I would say, like, I was in the closet when I dated Stephanie, and that definitely contributed to the end of that relationship. There was a girl I was into when I was in my teens that definitely didn't work out because I was in the closet. Like, coming out means that you can have that sort of romantic happiness. You can live your full life. I totally get, though, that you might not feel like the letter writer doesn't give me anything about their home life or anything. So maybe
Yeah, because it could be a safety issue too.
yeah. But I would say if you're in a position where you can say that you're going to be physically safe and you know you're going to have some support, then that's the best time to come out. You know,
Yeah.
definitely, you know, don't wait till you're 33, because
Yeah.
that sucked.
Better, I guess. You know.
But you know, like it seems like her sister is supportive.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got that. Maybe start there. Start with the people that you know are pro LGBTQ, and then you have a small support network for when you come out to people that aren't pro LGBTQ. Like that's the way.
Yeah, you got to have a support system in
I think
place.
that's the way to do it.
Yeah.
Is like start with the people you know are going to be 100% accepting, and then go up from there. But
Yeah.
like not everyone's coming out stories are the same. I highly recommend the letter writer actually go to the Trevor Project because, and I didn't do a resource page, and as I'm saying this, I should have. But go to the Trevor Project because there are lots of great resources for coming out there. I turned to them. I Googled coming out stories, and I looked for like a lot of, you know, queer Tumblrs is a great place to read about people coming out. And sometimes that can give you what you need because it's hard just to even say the words like I'm a lesbian or
Right.
I'm queer or I'm bi or I'm gay or whatever. Like it's hard. And then what do you say after that? Right. Like,
Yeah.
instead of have that deer in headlight moments, prepare a script, even if you want to. Like I said, I came out in an article because how I communicate
Hmm.
best, but
I've never had anyone come out to me, but I have heard like the coming out stories of some of my friends. Um, Fortunately, most of their stories are positive. That like their immediate family, like their friends, their parents, their friends, siblings were very supportive. It was maybe extended family, like aunts, uncles, grandparents that weren't, but like the important people were. And then I've also heard of some like heartbreaking ones.
yeah,
But no one's ever come out to me directly.
I'm queer.
I'm black and straight.
I would love Cooper the other day was like, I think I'm straight, but I'm not sure. And I was like, you don't need to know.
Yeah, yeah. And it evolves.
It's a
I think
spectrum.
it's fluid.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, how
It's
gay
a
I am
spectrum, you know?
depends on what movie I've watched last. Like I always joke that like Wonder Woman makes my Kinsey scale reading, like the little meter, like breaks it
It's like the
when it's
springs fall
reading.
out.
Pete has a question. He says, since when, Simone?
Since when? Oh,
Yeah, I think that's you being straight or you being black. I'm not sure.
I was born this way.
Just if you come back now. Those were all the questions for this week.
Okay.
So
Those are good. Those are good.
yes, reach out to us. Um, if you have any questions, we can keep you anonymous. Please make me stop trolling Reddit for questions.
Yeah, if you send us a question, you could send it to us anonymously.
Yeah.
If you send it to us not anonymously, we will strip we won't use your name, we won't use your real name, and we'll strip any identifiable um, traits, and it's in the vault. Like we will never disclose
Yeah,
that
absolutely.
you sent us a question. We'll never disclose that. So
But you can use the contact form on my website. You can use it anonymously. It does track our IP address because I get rape threats, but I will not follow up on any IP address tracking with any of these questions, I promise.
yeah, and exactly. You can also submit anonymously on on the contact page on my website as well, using the contact form, or you could email me or message me directly on Facebook or Messenger or something. It's entirely up to you, but know that your information is safe and private.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys for watching. We'll
Thank you
see
so
you
much.
next week. Thank you for putting up with our absence last week.
Yes. And we'll probably be at 4, resume our
Yeah.
regular time at 4 next week. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
okay. Thank you. Thanks, Ashley.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.